Hey guys, back again. Got bin 2 and 3 here, or sorry, 1 and 2. And we'll feed and take a little peek and see what we see here. Should be pretty straightforward. Like I mentioned in the previous video, these guys have been neglected for a little while. Probably should have been fed about 5 days ago, but there's still lots for them to do in there. So just over the holidays, busy. So let's just dive in and see what we see. So same as the other one, I'm just going to give everything a good mix. Add a bunch of eggshells because I have them. A lot less bedding left in these bins, so I'm hoping to kind of sift and maybe start some new bins or split them up. Same idea as before. The cocoons in here, there's tons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They're everywhere. So I think I like the idea of the smaller bins for reproduction. There's your freshly hatched. That guy can't be more than a day old. He's still very clear. You can see the blood vessel through the middle. But that is a very young worm. But lots of worms, lots of activity. Still a very old grape. Few mites in that one. Nothing to be concerned about. Definitely lots of worms though. So this bin is getting real close to being finished. Really big population in here. Yeah, I would say that I'm much happier with these smaller bins than I am with the big bin. The reproduction is 10 times better. So I suspect that bigger bin, I will be screening it and using it to screen into, and then starting smaller bins with that population. I much prefer, until your population is big enough anyways, I much prefer the amount of reproduction I'm getting in these smaller bins. So again, my feeding is a lot of melons. So I'm going to put a little bedding just to help with any of the extra juice and liquid that comes off of them. But these are getting really close to done, so let's just give them a little feeding. I probably should have fed the other one more because it's looking like I have a lot of food left. Like I did in the previous video, I like to cut little slits into the bananas so that they can get right into the meat of it right off the get-go. We'll get some watermelon, some apples, some strawberries, some blueberries. I found an old apple that was rotting. I cut it up. Little honeydew melon. Throw a little more watermelon in there. Then we'll give their guys their eggshells. I'm going to add a whole bunch because like before I have a ton. And not much more to it. I am going to put just a little water so these eggshells aren't super dry and irritate them. As mentioned before, we don't want to get your dry products right onto the worms. They're not a huge fan. I saw a bunch squirming away crazy when I dumped that on. But yeah, we'll cover that up. And bin number 2 is fed. Very happy with the population in here, and the cocoons and the reproduction, the moisture, everything's really nice in here. So I think for now I'm going to stick with these texture. The population's probably starting to get a little high in this one, and from what I understand, they may slow down in reproduction when your populations start getting too high. So we'll see. I'm still seeing a ton, hundreds of cocoons in here. So at least for now, it's still going really well. But again, all 3 of these bins are getting really close to finishing up. So we'll, I would imagine one of my next series, the next series of videos or the ones after that, we'll start looking into sifting and rebuilding some new bins. I'll probably start getting some material together fairly soon to let it mature and let it age, so that I can start thinking about new bins. Again, this one here, lots of castings, bedding's getting low. Look at that. There's a worm right there with a cocoon stuck to him. Lots of mature cocoons in here, really dark color. So I would imagine we'll start seeing lots of juveniles in here in the near future. Lots of mature worms, good population. As I assumed, they're everywhere in this bin. They're all over the place because I waited so long for feeding. Like I said, probably should have fed 5 days ago or so, so they're probably a little hungry. They're just out scouring. But again, no attempts to escape or anything like that, so they're still happy. Here's another juvenile worm with a cocoon. A fairly mature cocoon. So we're still doing pretty good. Yeah, I really like these smaller bins. They're easier to manage. Lots of worms. Just everywhere. No worm balls because, again, there's no mass of food for them to congregate at. But I would say I've eliminated the potworm population, which is nice. Especially now that I'm feeding bananas. Since I mentioned before, I find because the banana skins last so long, that's where I get most of my potworms, is in the banana skins. Again, a little bit of bedding. And this bedding, I've had an extra bin. I keep moistening it every once in a while. So it's a little damp already. I just like to have stuff aged for them. Same idea. We'll cut some slits into these banana skins. Gives them access to the center right away. They really like the center of these bananas. And I suspect I'll be getting a bunch of melon sprouts because I didn't take any of the seeds out. This was just an old melon that was still whole and started rotting. So I just chopped it up and froze it. These guys are getting an excessive amount of food, way more than I usually feed. So I will have to check in on that bigger bin sooner than later, because I didn't quite split all this food up into thirds like I thought I did. Give it some eggshell because I have so much of it. I still have, a full margarine container of it. Just so much. And I still have more eggs to crush, so no shortage of it. Just gonna put a little water on it, just so that there's not dry, coarse material for them to run into. But otherwise, that's it. Simple, nothing out of the ordinary today. I'm not really sure what else I could touch on. So again, guys, if there's any questions, anything you think I'm not covering, anything you're dying to know, problems you're having, go ahead and ask away in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Keep this channel building. Don't do this for money. I do this for fun. And the more people we can reach, why not? More people we reach, the more conversation we can have, and the more we can learn off each other. I'm not a master by any means, so anyways, hope you all had a good holidays. New Year's Eve, Happy New Year's. Hope everyone gets home safe tonight, has a good time, and we'll catch you next time.